What is going on, everybody? It is points after Thursday, and it is Grindberg here running solo tonight. I am gonna handle this one on my own, and gonna hit up the Baltimore Ravens and Miami Dolphins recap. I'm gonna hear from just a short little while today, and gonna hang out for a little bit. If you got any start and sit questions headed into the weekend, if you want to just hang out for a little while, come and chill with Grindberg, and we'll start with the little recap of the Ravens and Dolphins game. And Lamar Jackson back finally after a lengthy exit from the regular season, and he came back with a vengeance, and didn't need to be a whole lot of excitement here in this one, but 4 touchdowns, couple early strikes to Mark Andrews, and the Ravens look pretty good tonight, and the Dolphins did not have a lot of answers to this Ravens high-powered offense. Derrick Henry, 19 rushes, 119 yards, back to his old self. Struggled a little bit early, but as soon as the Ravens got that lengthy lead there, Derrick Henry took over and was himself 6.3 yards per carry. Good numbers for him. Thought a little bit more would come from Zay Flowers with the return of Lamar Jackson, but he was the best receiver on the day for the Ravens, going 5 for 64. Isaiah Likely was also on the score sheet with 3 for 60, but the score of the night here was Mark Andrews getting 2 targets, 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Great situation here for the Ravens as they look to bounce back with Lamar Jackson coming back on the other end of the ball here. We got the Miami Dolphins, who struggled quite early and often in this one, and couldn't get a rhythm. Tua did throw for 261 yards, but threw an interception, got sacked, and was pressured quite a bit through the night. Devon Achane, 14 for 67 on the ground, but was the talk of the town through the air, 6 for 39, as he usually has. He's keeping pace here. Had 10 targets in this one, so Tua's continuing to look his way. Waddle was somewhat disappointing considering the matchup here. 9 targets, 6 for 82. Not quite the outcome we were hoping for Jalen Waddle in this one, but still respectable if you ended up starting him. Greg Dulcich finally hitting the score sheet in this one, and taking on that role that Darren Waller vacated when he went on the injured reserve. 5 targets here, 5 for 49. So pretty respectable game here for Greg Dulcich, somebody that you might want to keep an eye on here moving forward, as the waiver wires do get pretty slim as this season progresses. On a bright spot here, Malik Washington saw some work on the ground and through the air. 3 for 48 through the air, about 3 rushes for 13 yards. So starting to see a little bit more progress from him in the passing game for the Dolphins, that a lot of people had a lot of aspirations once Tyreek Hill went down, but didn't end up progressing the way it was. But the real story here, guys and girls, is Lamar Jackson coming back, and the 4 touchdowns. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more on his legs, but I think, nursing that injury, you could tell he wasn't super involved in the running game, only rushing for 14 yards on 5 carries. So we'll see what happens as this progresses through the season. I think they'll wrap up everything. What's going on, everybody? We got Mad Dog in the chat, and also Albert as well. Welcome in. If you want to review some of the night's questions, we got the Dolphins, the Ravens going at it in a kind of a snoozer, but really liked what we saw from Lamar Jackson. A couple big games this weekend as we go through the slate. Well, the biggest one that I'm looking for, obviously, is as a Chiefs fan, I'm looking for the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills to come up, with a big game here, because they've always been destined to have these long matchups, and 52 points on the slate here. That's one of the highest point totals of the week. So Mahomes playing the best football he's been playing as far as a fantasy football perspective. He is currently ranked as the quarterback one, and I see that continuing on this week. Look at the weapons he's gotten back now. Rashi Rice putting up an incredible pace here after just 2 games, and he's been the go-to target for Mahomes. And Kelsey's obviously been a resurgent part of that offense as well. And you can't forget what the Bills' attack's going to look like. The Chiefs has got a tough defense, and same with the Bills. So I'm looking for James Cook to have another big game and be part of the game plan quite heavily in this one. With McDaniels, make it to the end of the year. We got a question here from the chat, and I don't know at this point. Are they going to be? Are they going to be in the playoff hunt? I think they're done. The season is done for them, and I think they were done when the Tyreek injury happened. And if they haven't moved on from him yet, I'm not sure that it's going to happen. But this game was one that we were expecting the Dolphins offense to show up for, and they drew a blank. I mean, they showed up last week against the tough Atlanta Falcons defense, who have been really stout against wide receivers. When you think about it, last week was the best week that the Falcons led up to any quarterback, and that was to Tua for 203 yards. That's not great as far as that goes. So I was expecting a little bit more, especially when you think about how banged up the Ravens defense has been. I was expecting the Ravens to win this one, but expecting to use their offense a little bit more, and they didn't really need to use it at all. And yeah, short fields, easy gains. Lamar Jackson was in his element here, and I just don't know about McDaniels. I'm really worried about everybody in that lineup outside of Devon Achane, and it really caps his ceiling when they can't score touchdowns as well. So he's going to be good on the ground. He's going to be good through the air, but his touchdown upside is capped now, and there's going to be guys that are going to be starting well ahead of Devon Achane now as this season does progress. So yeah, great comment, good question. And yeah, I assumed if the Dolphins wanted to move on, they would have done it by now. But I mean, at this stage, there's still plenty of time left in the season, and if they continue to down spiral, there's got to be a scapegoat, and he's the number one target there. So back to the Chiefs and the Bills. Looking for James Cook to have a monster game. I think the Chiefs do have a good run defense, but against elite weapons like the James Cooks, I could just see this being a game where they're going to really need to focus in and use their best weapons. Thoughts about Waddle? Is he a piece to build on? I mean, I've never been a huge Waddle guy. My co-host Biggs on the forecast. We've never been there. The injury scares. I don't think he is a piece to build off of in redraft and dynasty. He's a guy I'm moving off of if I have him on any sort of rosters. He's a guy I'm just not really high on. I mean, he's tied to Tua, which is a quarterback that, has got some question marks around his stability, his decision making, and, his concussion problems, and not much outside of them in the farm, right? I mean, who do they have as their backups? It's not looking good. Quinn Ewers isn't going to do anything. Maybe Zach Wilson. That could be something that could develop, but under a couple of years behind the gun here, things aren't looking good in Miami. So yes, Waddle is a number one target there, but if they can't move the ball, I'm not looking for them to be even better. Is Waddle worth a 2026 late first? I wouldn't be giving up a 2026 first for Waddle personally. If you can get that in return, absolutely, I'd be taking that for sure. Like that would be my guess there. I mean, Waddle is definitely not in that range at this stage. Even with the length there, like for me, he would be doing it now. he's got the best situation that he's going to have at this stage with Tua. They have that connection, and it's not coming to fruition there. I mean, the Dolphins are a mess. Maybe with a coaching change that could spark something there. So, but with that question earlier, I just don't know what's going to happen. The Dolphins, I think, should have let him go earlier in the season. So I'm not sure that's going to happen. And for the next couple of games, obviously, unless it happens on Monday, I think we're going to be stuck with McDaniels for at least a couple more games for sure. Yeah, crazy things happening in Miami, and I'm staying well away from that dumpster fire. And I urged our viewers on the forecast all offseason to step away from the Dolphins. Outside of Tyreek Hill, who was going in ranges that I was okay taking him in because it wasn't costing me a whole lot, and Devon Achan as well in some spots when he fell to value. So. I was worried about the chemistry in camp and between him and Tua and McDaniels and the whole Tyreek situation. So yeah, there was some question marks right headed in there. So couple big games here also on the slate that I'm looking for big numbers from wide receivers here, and that's the Colts and the Steelers, and that game is slated for for 51 points essentially. So looking for some fireworks. Both secondaries have been susceptible to big games to wide receivers, and a couple starts that we had talked about on the forecast was Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf. Both those guys I'm definitely considering starting right away without any question, especially with 4 buys this week. So this is kind of like the second week of Buy-Mageddon here. Fantasy managers, that recovered from last week. It doesn't get any easier with Cleveland, the Jets, the Philly, the Eagles, and the Bucks all on bye. Some tough matchups to go around the board, but there's some juicy ones with some high lines that we got to take advantage of here. And that game between the Colts and the Steelers is one. Another one that I'd like to have some shares of is the Monday Nighter, which is the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. And there's still some question marks about the availability of Kyler Murray. And at this stage, it's still questioned. So if you have him in your lineup, I'd be looking at some injury reports headed into the weekend. Be sure to stay tuned to, FSAN here. We got an injury show that is going to be dropping tomorrow morning on the Operation Domination channel. So be sure to check that one out. It's our injury recap show, and it's going to be here. So be sure to check it out and get all the information you need headed into the weekend with our starts and sits and injury reports. And be sure to also check up all our content here headed into week 9. We have a couple start and sit shows headed into Sunday morning. Breakfast with Biggs, 10:30 Central, followed up by Spilled Coffee at 11 Central. You'll get top-notch analysis, start and sit questions headed in the queue. Be sure to check us all out on the station here. Do we have a Bijan bounce back week against a tougher defense? And does Tre'Veon finally have a big day? Mad Dog, these are all questions that everybody wants answered. And Atlanta, I mean, Bijan, I just think it was a weird day for the Falcons last week, and just an off day. They did not play good against the Dolphins in a juicy matchup, and I just think that was just one off. I think Bijan does bounce back. I have him ranked just behind McCaffrey and Taylor. He's my RB3 headed into week 9. So obviously I'm really high on him. I know it's a tougher defense, but Bijan is the key piece behind what ticks in that Atlanta offense. And I know they're playing the Patriots. I'm interested to see both these backfields, like you mentioned. Does Travion Henderson have a big day with Ramondre Steven questionable? So keep an eye on that one as well, too, folks. If Ramondre is for sure out, look for Travion Henderson to maybe have some more opportunity. I'm not sold on it. I'm just not sold on McDaniel's, Vrabel's offense here. I'm just Not sure that he's going to have the trust on him. There's obviously something that he's not seen in Henderson in practice. Maybe it's his pass protection that he's been so known to be so great at, all through his college years, his ball security and pass protection and his explosiveness. We haven't seen any of those yet this year, outside of that one big play he had last week. So I'm looking for him to maybe have some more opportunity, but I just don't see him getting that opportunity in mass here. There's been some rumors that the Patriots are looking in the market for a running back, and that could be an option here too for them. So tough news for Henderson owners that drafted him earlier on in hopes of him paying off in redraft. Still holding your dynasty stakes full, but this is the week. But I'm not holding my breath here, Mad Dog. I'm just not holding my breath. So yeah, interesting backfield between the two. So yeah, certainly something to keep an eye out. And the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals is the game that I'm looking at wrapping this show up, because I'm a solo man and it's been a late night. So good on this. But let's talk a little bit about Marvin Harrison Jr. here and the potential for him having a big game. Let's hear it in the chat. If you're listening in here, what are your thoughts on Marv tonight, this week? This is his game, and if he can't show out here, I'm going to be worried about him. If he can't have a baseline, 5 catches, 70 yards and a touchdown, I think I'm hitting the panic button against a really juicy matchup. And I'm going to be looking at Kyler bounce back here. We saw what Jacoby Brissett has been able to do for this offense, move the ball, make our guys fantasy relevant, especially a guy like Trey McBride, who's had 3 touchdowns in 2 games with him starting. And Brissett is a guy that can spread the ball around, knows where to read the coverage. And I've just always been a little apprehensive about the whole Kyler Murray situation. And I always thought that Marvin's troubles was directly affiliated with Kyler, and now after seeing him perform with Brissett, I'm more thinking that it might be a Marv thing, and it's something that he needs to progress. So this game, I'll be really looking at him and my dynasty shares that I have a couple of, not a whole lot, but yeah, something isn't kicking. You're right. Absolutely, Carson. I agree with you. Something isn't clicking. Something is off. And this is the game that is really important for me to see if Marvin is indeed washed, like you mentioned. Not quite there yet, but certainly something to monitor. He's still a young wide receiver with a pedigree like he has, known to perform, but just that offense in general, the scheme, just doesn't fit his way. When he was putting in some slant routes earlier in the season and it was able to get open in the middle to intermediate routes, I think that was bad. I think it is a combo as well, to Mad Dog, with the combo of Marv, Kyler, and Petzing. Yes, I think that has something to do with it. Kyler is a problem, and I've talked about it with Biggs on our show in nauseum, just about the size of Kyler. I think he has a hard time seeing downfield. I think he's more suited to target the short to intermediate routes. It's a bit easier to see, and that's why I see Trey McBride becoming such a force. Obviously he's talented. He's got the pedigree. He's got the athleticism that you're looking for in a tight end. But Kyler Murray, it's been glued to him. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is as well. So it could be a little bit of both. Getting some Kelvin Benjamin vibes. Wow, that's heavy. Must have stung you last year a little bit there, Carson. I bet in a dynasty league or two to be talking like that. And I get it. He hasn't lived up to the expectations, especially if you would have drafted him over a guy like Neighbors. Obviously he's injured, or Brian Thomas Jr., or Lad McConkey. Those guys outperformed him and are still outperforming at this stage outside of Malik Neighbors, who's banged up. And, Brian Thomas Jr., who had a incredible run there with Mac Jones, and just isn't seeing the same type of uptick. Still a guy that is still doing better than Marv, and just those high expectations that we all had out for him, right? Being a Ohio State guy, lot of optimism. Everybody was hyping him up, and it just, expecting everything. And he's shown flashes. So we'll see. Uh, that's why this week is so, so important to me on the slate for Marvin Harrison Jr. and the gang there. Storyline, JJ McCarthy coming back. This is a big one to me. And I think that, he hasn't shown much in his, 8 quarters of football, played one really solid one, four against a really, really tough defense in the Atlanta Falcons, who we've known to, at the time maybe wasn't on the map, but that could have been a reason why he struggled. And the first 3 quarters of his first NFL start as a professional in a regular season game, uh, not excuses, but there's not a whole lot of wheelhouse to work off of here. So we got to really consider us and temper our expectations. And this week too, this week he's got a tough matchup as well against the Lions, who are tough against opposing a quarterback. So we'll see how he matches up against that, and see how he flows. But I'm high on him, moving forward. I was high on him, at the start of this year. So I'm still sticking to my guns a little bit, and we'll see how this progress after this tough matchup and how he progresses after this week and beyond that. So a guy that I took a stab on in some of my waiver wire pickups this week, a deep stash in some of my deeper benches. So we'll see how that goes. And absolutely keeping my eye on JJ McCarthy, that elite quarterback rookie class that it was, the 2024, has just been lighting it up. And speaking of that class, Drake May, what an incredible surge he's been on, and he's legit, and he's being talked about as a top 5 dynasty asset. And how could you deny that at this stage of the game? Pulling up crazy numbers, elite numbers, QB1 overall numbers right now. And it's looking like it's going to continue. Maybe not this week, but it's not a huge line there, but there could be some points scored here in Foxborough against a Falcons D that can be susceptible to big points as well. So Drake May continuing his hot streak again, and hopefully we'll see him continue that surge. Now, folks, if you got any more questions, hit them up in the chat. Just going to do a recap of what we got going on here on the network as we move through the season before I send off for the night. Now, we are the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, and be sure to check out all our live shows for all your Q&A. I mentioned on Sunday morning our live Q&A, start and shit shows, Breakfast with Biggs and Spill Coffee, but I did not mention Last Call on Mondays. And Last Call on Mondays is going to now feature, starting not this week, but next week, Mad Dog and Hype. So we're going to welcome them in for Last Call, wrapping up our Monday action. And on Tuesday, always the weekly kickoff with Kyle and Corey. Be sure to check that show out. They get us all primed up for the week. And then on Thursday night, check me out and Biggs, PAT, Points After Thursday. And on Friday night, can't forget, From the Forum, Start and Sit Show, Q&A, everything you need in one place with Joe Frick and our boss, the man himself, Tyler Bradley. So be sure to check them out every Friday night. And Carson's got a question for me. Drake May or Jaden Daniels? Wow. Tough one. I am going to go. See, these guys, are splitting hairs right now, and it's what have you done for me lately? But you can't forget the season that Jaden Daniels had last year as a rookie. I'm gonna have to go with Jaden Daniels, and I see the at this stage just the rushing upside that he brings, and they're still working around his weapons. And I know Drake May's got everything going for him too. This is more of a gut thing for me. I just see the spike games being higher for Jaden Daniels, the ceiling being higher for Jaden Daniels. May have a higher floor. So if you're safer, a more longevity of a career potentially, because he's not as fragile potentially. But as a win now kind of manager and a guy that kind of plays on the edge, I'm going to go with Daniels with just those spike weeks, because any given week he's going to win me a week, and that's the upside I like when I pick a quarterback. But can't do anything here. You're splitting hairs at this stage with both those guys. So if you're in a dynasty and you got either of those guys, you are feeling great headed into 2026 and into the fantasy playoffs. So yeah. Come on back here, folks, tomorrow night, where 9 Central, you will see from the forum here. And yeah, it's been a blast hanging out with you tonight. And be sure to check us out next week on Points After Thursday, and also to check out our merch shop. A lot of exclusive content. If you like what you see here, the Dynasty Pulse hat, that's our Dynasty show on the main channel. You can find all our swag there. Use code FORECAST15 for 15% off. Thank you, Carson. I appreciate the subscribe, man. Be sure to check out all our content as well. Our channel is popping. You'll find the fantasy forecast dropping tomorrow morning with our sit show on Saturday morning. You'll check out our start show, 15-minute bangers. So not too much time to take out, and you get some really good insights from Biggs, Schulte, and myself. And then we also have our Pulse, the Dynasty Pulse, dropping tomorrow as well. We had a college expert that did a preview on the 2026 class for us. It was a great show, so be sure to check us out there as well. And Carson, if you want to join us anytime, be sure to come back, and we will answer any questions you may have. So from all of us here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network and PAT, hope you have a great night. Hope you set your lineup straight, and that you got a good head start if you enjoyed the luxuries of having Lamar Jackson in your lineup tonight. So peace out, folks. Hope you win later.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.